They said love is beautiful. But what they didn't say is that sometimes love wears the mask of danger. Esther sat on the cold bench outside the dean's office, her heart pounding so hard it felt like the whole corridor could hear it. Her eyes were red from crying, and her phone screen glowed with a message she couldn't stop staring at. "Don't ever call me again, Esther. I warned you." That message came from Daniel, the same Daniel who once promised her forever. And in that moment, it felt like her world had collapsed into silence. Students were walking past, laughing, whispering, living their normal university lives. But Esther's life had stopped. Everything she had built, her dignity, her dreams, her plans, had shattered because of one boy and one secret that had now become impossible to hide. Let's go back a little. Not too far, just a few months before the storm. Esther was a second-year student at Brightview University, a beautiful campus known for its palm trees, bright classrooms, and endless gossip. She was smart, quiet, and the kind of girl everyone liked but didn't really know deeply. Her focus was clear: study hard, graduate with honors, and make her mother proud. Her father had passed away when she was in high school, and her mother sold fruits by the roadside to pay her school fees. So Esther valued education like gold. Then came Daniel. Daniel wasn't just any boy. He was charming, the kind of charm that draws you in before you even realize it. He played guitar at the campus fellowship, dressed neatly, spoke with confidence, then carried himself like someone who had life all figured out. He noticed Esther one evening during a student event. She was sitting quietly at the back, taking notes while everyone else was laughing. "Why are you always serious?" he teased her after the program. Esther smiled shyly. "Someone has to pass the exams," she said. That simple conversation turned into daily chats, then study sessions, and before long, into something deeper. Daniel made her laugh like no one else. He called her "my peace," and she believed him when he said he would never hurt her. Weeks turned into months. Everyone on campus began to know them as that couple, the one that seemed perfect. But behind the perfection, something dark was growing. Daniel started changing. He became more controlling. He wanted to know where Esther was every minute. He got angry when she spoke to other male classmates. At first, Esther thought it was love, that he cared too much. But love doesn't suffocate. It doesn't make you small. Soon, Daniel started skipping classes. Rumors spread that he was involved in things that could get him suspended: illegal betting, lies, things Esther didn't want to believe. One night, after an argument, Daniel showed up at her hostel gate, begging, "Please, Esther, don't leave me. You're all I have." Tears in his eyes, promises on his lips, and that was the night Esther made the biggest mistake of her life. A mistake she thought was love. A mistake that changed everything. 2 months later, Esther noticed something was wrong. She felt weak. She couldn't focus. Her appetite was gone. At first, she thought it was stress. But deep down, her heart was whispering a truth she didn't want to face. She took the test. Positive. Her hands shook so badly the paper nearly fell from her hand. She sat on the bathroom floor, whispering, "No, no, no, this can't be happening." That evening, she called Daniel. He didn't answer. The next day, she tried again. Still no reply. When she finally saw him on campus, he looked at her coldly, like a stranger. "Daniel," she whispered, holding the test result. "I need to talk to you." But Daniel stepped back and said the words that shattered her heart completely. "Don't involve me in your nonsense, Esther." He turned and walked away. That week, the whispers began. Someone must have told someone, because soon, her secret was everywhere. Her friends started avoiding her. Even her roommates looked at her differently. Esther stopped going to class. She couldn't bear the stares, the laughter, the quiet judgment. Her mother didn't know yet, and she couldn't bring herself to tell her. Every night, Esther cried herself to sleep, wondering how her bright future had turned into a nightmare. But life has a way of turning pain into purpose, if you allow it. One afternoon, Esther fainted during a lecture. She was rushed to the campus clinic. That was how Mrs. Kumson, a kind counselor, entered her story. Mrs. Kumson was one of those rare adults who listened without judgment. She sat with Esther, held her hand, and said softly, "My dear, this is not the end. It might just be your beginning." Those words planted a seed of strength inside Esther. She started meeting Mrs. Kumson weekly, talking, healing, learning to forgive herself, not Daniel, not yet, but herself. Meanwhile, Daniel was living freely. He started dating another girl, Anita. He even joked with his friends about Esther, twisting the story to make himself look innocent. But what he didn't know was that truth has legs. It might walk slowly, but it always arrives. Weeks passed. Esther decided she wouldn't let shame destroy her. She began to write, in secret, about her pain, her lessons, her heartbreak. She wrote poems, journal entries, reflections, all expressing how young women are often blamed when love turns wrong. Her writings began circulating on campus anonymously through a student blog. Students started sharing them, saying things like, "Whoever writes this understands real pain." Her words were powerful, raw and real. Even Daniel read one post and said, "Whoever this is, she's good." Not knowing the truth that he was the villain in the story. Then came the university's annual creative arts competition. The theme was "A Voices of the Youth." Esther decided to submit her story anonymously. She titled it "The Price of Blind Love." It was about a girl who gave her heart to the wrong boy, lost everything, but rose stronger. It was a story about courage, about reclaiming your voice after being silenced by shame. The judges loved it. The story spread across the university. It touched hundreds of students, especially young women who had faced the same silent battles. When the results were announced, Esther won first place. And on the day of the award ceremony, she decided to reveal herself. The auditorium was full. Students, lecturers, even Daniel and Anita were there. Esther walked onto the stage, trembling but strong. She took the microphone, and for the first time, she spoke publicly. "I am Esther," she began. "The girl behind the story. And I want to say this, we all make mistakes. Some of us love the wrong people, some of us trust too easily. But our mistakes do not define who we are. What defines us is how we rise after the fall." The hall was silent. Then applause, loud, sincere, unstoppable. Daniel's face was pale. For the first time, he looked small, not because Esther shamed him, but because truth had exposed him without her saying his name. After that day, Esther's life began to change. She became a voice for others, organizing talks, mentoring girls, speaking about self-worth, boundaries, and resilience. Even the university invited her to speak at their youth empowerment program. Her story became bigger than her pain. It became a message of hope. As for Daniel, life humbled him. His new relationship fell apart. His grades dropped. He eventually left the university quietly. No revenge from Esther, just the quiet justice of time and truth. Years later, Esther graduated with honors. She opened a small foundation called Rise Again. Its goal was to help young women who faced similar challenges, giving them counseling, support, and hope. She forgave Daniel. Not because he deserved it, but because she refused to let bitterness live in her heart. And one day, she said something during an interview that touched everyone who heard it. "Forgiveness is not weakness. It's the highest form of strength. I forgave him, not so he could sleep peacefully, but so I could dream again." Now, people often ask, how did Esther do it? How did she rise from such pain? The answer is simple. She chose healing over hatred, growth over guilt, and purpose over pain. Love is not blind, people choose to close their eyes. Real love respects, protects, and builds you. If someone's love costs you your peace, your dignity, or your future, that's not love, it's a lesson.